Aurora never thought a routine medical checkup would change everything. She was a physical therapist at a small clinic in the coastal town of Harborside. Her life was quiet, predictable, safe. 2 years ago, she had divorced Ethan after 5 years of marriage. He was a successful tech entrepreneur. Always traveling, always chasing the next big thing. She had loved him deeply. But love had not been enough to bridge the distance between them. The divorce had been civil. Almost too civil. They had signed the papers on a rainy Tuesday in a lawyer's office. No drama. No accusations. Just two people who had grown apart. Aurora had kept the small apartment above the bookshop where she worked part-time. Ethan had kept the company. They had not spoken in 18 months. Until the morning, Aurora looked at the calendar and realized she was late. 3 weeks late. She bought a test at the pharmacy, took it in the bathroom of the clinic, and stared at the 2 pink lines until her eyes blurred. She was pregnant. With Ethan Child. They had not been together for nearly 2 years. But there had been one foolish night, 6 months ago, when Ethan had come to town for a conference. He had shown up at her door. Apologized. Said he missed her. They had talked for hours. Then they had made love like the old days. And in the morning, he was gone. Back to his world of investors and boardrooms. Aurora had not told him about the pregnancy. She was not sure she would keep the baby. She was 34 years old. She had a small apartment and a modest salary. She was alone. But as the weeks passed, she found herself touching her stomach, talking to the small life growing inside. She decided to keep the baby. And she decided not to tell Ethan. He had chosen his life. She had chosen hers. The baby was hers. She did not need him. The months passed. Spring turned to summer. Aurora's belly grew. She told her coworkers. She told her mother. She told her best friend Mira. But she did not tell Ethan. Mira thought she was making a mistake. He has a right to know. Mira said. They were sitting on the balcony of Aurora's apartment. The ocean was visible in the distance, blue and endless. He did not want to be married to me, Aurora said. Why would he want to be a father? Because it is his child. Mira insisted. Not because he wants to be with you, but because he deserves to know. Aurora shook her head. I will tell him, she said. When the baby is born. When it is real? Mira sighed. You are scared, she said. Yes, Aurora admitted. I am scared he will want nothing to do with us. And I am scared he will want everything to do with us. Either way, my life changes. Mira took her hand. Your life already changed, she said. The day you saw those 2 pink lines. Aurora spent the summer preparing for the baby. She painted the spare room in her apartment a soft yellow. She bought a crib from a second-hand store. She washed tiny onesies and folded them neatly in the drawer. Every night she placed her hand on her belly and felt the baby kick. Every night she thought about Ethan. She wondered if he ever thought about her. She wondered if he would want to know. She wondered if she was being selfish. But fear kept her silent. The baby arrived in September. A boy. Aurora named him Felix. He had Ethan dark hair and Aurora blue eyes. He was perfect. She held him in her arms and cried, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming weight of love. The first few weeks were a blur of sleepless nights and endless feedings. Felix cried. Aurora cried. Mira brought soup and coffee and took the baby for an hour so Aurora could shower. It was hard. Harder than she had imagined. But every time she looked at Felix's tiny face, she knew she had made the right decision. For 3 months, she kept her secret. She raised Felix alone. She woke up every 2 hours to feed him. She walked him around the apartment when he cried. She fell in love with him more each day. But she also felt the absence of something. Someone. Not Ethan exactly, but the idea of a family. The idea that Felix deserved to know his father. Mira pushed her again. You have to tell him. Mira said, Felix is 3 months old. He has a right to know his father. And Ethan has a right to know his son. Aurora knew Mira was right. She found Ethan's number, still saved in her phone. She stared at it for 3 days before she finally called. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was pounding. She almost hung up twice. But then she heard his voice. Aurora. He answered on the second ring. His voice was surprised, but not cold. Hi, Ethan, she said, her voice shaking. I need to see you. Can you come to Harborside? There was a pause. Is everything okay? He asked. Yes, she said, and no. I will explain when you get here. He arrived 2 days later. He looked older. There were gray hairs at his temples, but his eyes were the same. Warm, intense, familiar. Aurora met him at a small coffee shop near the harbor. She had left Felix with Mira. She needed to tell him without the baby there. They sat across from each other. The silence was awkward, heavy with years of unspoken words. You look good, Ethan said. Aurora laughed. A bitter sound. You do not have to do that, she said. We are not strangers, but we are not anything anymore. Ethan nodded. Fair. Then why did you call? Aurora took a deep breath. I have something to tell you. Something I should have told you a long time ago. She reached into her bag, pulled out her phone, showed him a photo of Felix. Ethan stared at the screen. His face went pale. His hand trembled. Who is this? He whispered. His name is Felix, Aurora said. He is your son. He was born 3 months ago. Ethan did not speak for a long time. He just stared at the photo, at the dark hair, at the blue eyes that were not his, at the tiny fingers curled around a blanket. You kept this from me, he said finally. His voice was not angry. It was broken. For 3 months, Aurora said, and 9 months before that. A year. Ethan. I did not know how to tell you. I did not know if you would want to know. How could you think I would not want to know? He stood up, his chair scraping the floor. People turned to look. He sat back down, ran his hands through his hair. I have made a lot of mistakes, he said. I was a terrible husband. I put work before you. I put everything before us. But Aurora, he reached across the table, took her hand. I would never, never turn my back on my own child. Aurora felt tears spill down her cheeks. I am sorry. She said, I was scared. I was stupid. I was wrong. Ethan squeezed her hand. Where is he? He asked. Can I see him? Aurora nodded. Mira brought Felix to the coffee shop 30 minutes later. Ethan held his son for the first time. His hands were shaking. His eyes were wet. Felix looked up at him, studied his face. And then Felix smiled. Ethan made a sound. Half laugh, half sob. He looked at Aurora. He has your smile, he said. Aurora laughed through her tears. He has your stubbornness, she said. He refused to sleep through the night for the first 2 months. Ethan held Felix close, rubbed his back, whispered something in his ear. Aurora could not hear what he said, but she saw Felix relax, saw his tiny body settle against his father's chest. They walked to the beach, the three of them. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Ethan carried Felix. Felix held on to his finger. Aurora walked beside them, her heart full and terrified at the same time. I want to be part of his life, Ethan said. Not from a distance. Not as a visitor. I want to be his father. Aurora, I want to be here. Aurora looked at him. What about your company? Your life in the city? I will move. He said, I will sell the apartment. I will work remotely. I will figure it out. You do not have to do that. Aurora said, I do not have to. Ethan said, I want to. He stopped walking, turned to face her. Aurora, I know I hurt you. I know I do not deserve another chance. But I am asking for one anyway. Not for me. For him. For Felix. And for you? If you will let me. Aurora looked at Felix. At Ethan. At the ocean. She thought about the years she had spent alone. The nights she had cried. The walls she had built. She thought about the way Ethan looked at their son. The way he held him. Like he was the most precious thing in the world. Okay. She said, okay. Let us try. Ethan moved to Harborside within a month. He rented a small house 3 blocks from Aurora apartment. He bought a crib, a stroller, a high chair. He read books about parenting. He called Aurora every night to ask how Felix was. He came over every morning to help with the early feeding. He was not the same man she had divorced. He was present, attentive, patient. Mira noticed the change. He is different, Mira said. He really is trying. People can change, Aurora said, if they want to. And he wants to. The first few weeks of co-parenting were awkward. Ethan did not know how to change a diaper. He put it on backwards the first time. Felix peed on his shirt. Aurora laughed. Ethan laughed too. It was the first time they had laughed together in years. They started having dinner together. Not as a couple. But as parents, Ethan would cook. Aurora would feed Felix. They would talk about their days, about the baby, about nothing important. Slowly, the walls between them began to crumble. One evening, Felix was fussy. He would not stop crying. Aurora was exhausted. She had not slept in 3 days. Ethan showed up at her door at midnight. "Go to bed," he said. "I will take him." Aurora wanted to argue, but she was too tired. She handed Felix to Ethan, fell into bed, and slept for 6 hours. When she woke up, Ethan was on the couch, Felix asleep on his chest. There were bottles drying on the counter. The apartment was clean. Ethan had done the dishes. Aurora stood in the doorway, watching them, her heart aching with a feeling she had not allowed herself to feel in years. Hope. Ethan looked up, saw her watching, smiled. "Hey," he said. He finally fell asleep about an hour ago. Aurora sat beside him. Carefully. Not too close. "Thank you," she said. "I did not know how much I needed that." Ethan shrugged. "You do not have to do this alone," he said. "I am here now. I am not going anywhere." The months that followed were not easy. There were arguments about schedules, about parenting choices, about the past. Aurora would get angry. Ethan would get defensive. They would yell. Then they would apologize. It was messy, but it was real. One night, after a particularly difficult argument about whether Felix should start solid foods at 4 months or 6 months, they sat in silence on the balcony. The ocean was dark. The stars were bright. "I am sorry," Ethan said. "I should not have yelled." "I am sorry, too," Aurora said. "I am scared." Ethan turned to look at her. "Of what?" She took a deep breath. "Of trusting you again. Of letting you in. Of getting hurt." Ethan was quiet for a moment. "I understand," he said. "I hurt you. Deeply. I do not expect you to trust me overnight. But Aurora," he reached for her hand, "I am not the same person I was. I have spent the last 2 years regretting every moment I took you for granted. I cannot change the past, but I can show you who I am now. Day by day, if you let me." Aurora looked at their hands. His fingers intertwined with hers. Warm, familiar. "I want to trust you," she said. "I want to believe that this time is different. Then let me prove it." He said, "Let me show you." She nodded. "Okay," she said. "Show me." He did. He showed up every day. He helped with every feeding. He went to every doctor appointment. He learned to make Felix laugh. He learned to soothe him when he cried. He learned to be a father. And slowly, Aurora began to fall in love with him again. Not the same way she had before, but differently. More carefully. More consciously. It was a choice, not just a feeling. And she chose him. Every day. One evening, Ethan came over with a box. "What is that?" Aurora asked. "Open it," he said. She lifted the lid. Inside was a model. A small wooden model of a house. Not a mansion. Not a cabin. But a simple two-story home with a porch and a garden. You built this? She asked. I designed it. He said, I have been working with an architect. This is the house I want to build. For us. For Felix. If you want. Aurora studied the model. The details were incredible. The porch swing. The big windows. The tree in the front yard. There was even a small workshop attached. For your physical therapy practice. Ethan said. So you could work from home. And be with Felix. Aurora felt tears threaten. You thought of everything. I tried, he said. Aurora, I know I do not deserve you. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be the man you deserve. She kissed him. It was the first time she had kissed him since that night 18 months ago. It felt like coming home. They broke ground on the house in the spring. Felix was 9 months old. He was crawling everywhere, getting into everything. Ethan would come home from work, covered in dust and sawdust, and Felix would crawl to him, reach up with his tiny arms, and Ethan would scoop him up, hold him close, call him his little man. Aurora watched them and felt something she had not felt in years. Hope. The house was finished in the fall. It was exactly as Ethan had designed. A porch with a swing. Big windows that let in the morning light. A garden where Aurora planted roses. And a workshop where she saw her patients. They moved in together. Not as husband and wife, but as a family. Felix had his own room. Painted pale blue with stars on the ceiling. Ethan put them there himself. One night, after Felix was asleep, Aurora and Ethan sat on the porch. The stars were bright. The ocean was quiet. Can I ask you something? Ethan said. Of course. When you found out you were pregnant. He paused. Why did you not tell me? Aurora was quiet for a moment. Because I was scared. She said, I was scared you would not want the baby. And I was scared you would want the baby too much. That you would come back out of obligation. Not love. And I did not want that. I did not want Felix to grow up feeling like a burden. Or like the reason his parents were together but not happy. Ethan took her hand. Felix is not a burden. He said, he is the best thing that ever happened to me. And you. He looked at her. You are not an obligation. You are the only person I have ever loved. And I was too stupid to realize it until I lost you. Aurora leaned her head on his shoulder. We both made mistakes, she said. But we are here now. Together. Ethan kissed her forehead. Together. He said, forever. He proposed on Felix's first birthday. Not with a grand gesture, but with a simple ring. A small diamond set in platinum. He knelt in the living room. Felix was on the floor, surrounded by wrapping paper and toys. Aurora was holding a cup of coffee. Ethan, she said, what are you doing? I am asking you to marry me. He said, again, but this time, I am going to get it right. Aurora laughed. You already got it right. She said, the house, the life. Felix? You already gave me everything. Then let me give you this, he said. Let me give you my name, and my heart, and my forever. She said yes. Of course she said yes. They got married in the garden behind their house. A small ceremony. Just family and close friends. Felix wore a tiny suit. He tried to eat the flowers. Mira caught the bouquet. Ethan wrote his own vows. He did not read them from a paper. He spoke from his heart. Aurora, he said, I spent years chasing success. Chasing money. Chasing things I thought mattered. But the only thing that ever mattered was you. And I was too blind to see it. Then Felix came. And he opened my eyes. He showed me what love really looks like. It looks like you holding him at 3 a.m. when he cannot sleep. It looks like you giving up your dreams so he can have his. It looks like you being brave enough to let me back in. I do not deserve you. But I am going to spend every day trying to be worthy of you. Aurora was crying. She could not stop. Ethan, she said, you already are worthy. You are a good father. A good partner. A good man. You were not always, but you are now. And that is what matters. Not the past. Not the mistakes. But who we are today. And who we are building together. I love you. I have always loved you. And I will always love you. They kissed. Felix clapped. Everyone cheered. And the sun set over the ocean, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. The next year was the happiest of Aurora life. Felix learned to walk, then to run. He said his first word. Dada. Ethan cried. He said his second word. Mama. Aurora cried. They celebrated Felix's second birthday with a party in the garden. There was a bouncy castle and a cake shaped like a whale. Felix loved whales. He had a stuffed whale named Wally that went everywhere with him. Ethan took a week off work. They went to the beach every day, built sandcastles, flew kites, ate ice cream until Felix had a mustache of chocolate. One night, after Felix was asleep, Aurora and Ethan sat on the porch. The stars were bright. The ocean was quiet. Are you happy? Aurora asked. Ethan looked at her. More than I ever thought possible. He said, and you? Aurora smiled. I did not know I could be this happy. She said, I thought after the divorce. That was it. That I would be alone forever. But then Felix came. And then you came back. And now? She looked at the house. At the garden. At the stars. Now I have everything. Ethan pulled her close. You have always been everything. He said, I just did not know how to show it. But I am learning. Aurora kissed him. We are both learning. She said, that is what marriage is. Not knowing everything, but growing together. They sat in silence, watching the waves, listening to the night, and Aurora to choose each other again and again, even when it is hard. Especially when it is hard. They learned that second chances are not given. They are earned, day by day, choice by choice. small gesture by small gesture. And they learned that the most beautiful things in life are not the ones that come easy, but the ones that survive the storm and find their way home. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and become a member to get early access to upcoming stories. Your support makes all the difference and helps us keep bringing stories that move you.